such an interesting place to start this third oversharing in Seattle video, but just got off of the Zoom call of one of the classes I'm taking. I love political education. I love learning about political science. It's so important to me. And we were just talking about, like, in the Zapatista culture, it's so important to have this like collective heart that, unites everybody, and that you're fully yourself, fully feeling all of your emotions, sharing all of your emotions. If that's intense grief, you're all feeling that together, and it's about community. And part of my reflection in today's class was like, damn, I'm just really realizing like how radical it is in at least American society to be vulnerable. And the way I know that is because this series I don't have to call, but I do feel a sense on YouTube that I need to sort of disclaim or like label when I'm oversharing, as if there is some sort of spectrum with the amount we're able to be ourselves and our whole selves online. And there's a limit of like, past that, it's too much. That's oversharing. Like, I honestly don't think there should be a limit of how much you're able to share your whole self online. Like, I love to be an open book. I love to be fully emotionally available. And that is like somewhat transgressive in today's society because there is no benefit under capitalism to being emotionally available. Like, if anything, there's an incentive to like close yourself off and like protect your emotions and like hide those things and to become somewhat like jaded. And so despite having called this series Oversharing in Seattle, I may want to transform that little series title because I don't want to use that word anymore. Like, I don't think it's a productive, and even the word productive is a gross word. Like, I don't want to use language that's reinstilling like value judgments about like vulnerability. So that's where I'm at. I'm literally at a sleepover. I'm 13 again, had my bowl of popcorn and chocolate chips as my afternoon snack. Like, I'm 12 years old and I just got home from school before my parents get home from work, and I'm making myself a little treat, eating sour gummy worms, just enjoying myself. I'm at my friend Sandra's house. She just invited me. Her boyfriend, who she lives with, is like in Canada for a couple of days, and she was like, do you want to sleep over Thursday night? And I was like, yeah. I love a good girly sleepover moment. And she has a guest bedroom. It's so lovely. Don't know what we'll be watching tonight. In my day, actually, this is a great question. If you had sleepovers in your youth, let me know the reoccurring go-to movie you would watch. Canonically, it was Sleepover. Of course, there would be some Lizzie McGuire movie. In my earlier youth, a lot of Our Girls, our favorite twins, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. I'm sure there's ones I'm not thinking of, so drop those below and we can have a little remembrance. I know we're not all the same age, but I'd be curious to see. I've been in a really self-conscious moment this week where like I find myself like, just, usually I am a finger tap away from sharing a dumb thought on Twitter, but lately I'm like, wait, people are gonna think I'm like really annoying if I do that, or no one's gonna resonate with that, or like, that's just embarrassing, or like, just like basically, hey, people are gonna think you're a cringy dumbass. And I was in a really nice spot this summer with just embracing like, I am cringe, but I am free, and basically just like sharing whatever is true to me and what feels right. And I think I've kind of just like lost touch recently. I've been a lot in my head and not so much in my heart of like what feels right to put out there, and not just on social media, but just in life in general. Like, I just feel like I've just been more self-conscious of like, as I go out in the world, like, oh, are they gonna think I'm weird? Where was I where I was like really worried? Oh, I had a personal training session. The gym I joined is wonderful indie gym, so they're not connected to any like major corporations. It's very, very like low-key, community-led. When I first walked in there, I got great vibes, which I never get from gyms. Gyms at a baseline to me have bad vibes because they just feel like very sanitized. Like, I don't really feel like as humans we're supposed to be exercising in gyms on machines. It just literally just, for me, it feels a little like industrialized. Like, it doesn't really connect with like not to get all Pisces spiritual on your ass, but like my spirit, like it just feels like we're really making the process of like moving your body abstract when it should be as easy as just like taking your dog for a walk, like going on a hike, biking, like just using your body. Anyway, I've joined a gym despite all of that because I'm just like, hey, when I'm not going on hikes, I want to make sure I stay at a point where the next time I go on a hike, I don't have to rebuild up all the stamina. Like I just want to have a baseline level of fitness so that when I do go out on walks and on bike rides and on hikes and when I kayak, I'm not having to rebuild every single one of those experiences. Anyway, again, can I ever have a complete thought without generating 3 more during the thought? No. Probably means I need to meditate more. Mindfulness could be good. Anyway, so as part of the gym membership, you get a free like personal training session every 6 weeks. I had a huge work presentation, a 90-minute presentation on Tuesday to give. And previously, historically, I had felt some anxiety before this presentation because it's like in front of my whole team and my manager and potentially my manager's manager and a bunch of other managers. And I was just like, I don't want people to be judging me and judging my work ethic and what I've done over the last 3 months. Like, I just don't want people to be looking at my economic output ever. Like, I just don't want to be like judged on the merit of like my professional accomplishments. Like, that's just not meaningful to me. So it's weird that it's meaningful to anyone else. But this time around, I had like no anxiety around it because I was just like, you know what? Like, I was just at peace with it for whatever reason. And so I gave a 90-minute presentation. After it was over, I was like, wait, that was actually enjoyable. I think I like sharing and giving presentations. And maybe it was just, I like talking for 90 minutes, almost uninterrupted, which is a little narcissist theater kid of me. I wasn't a theater kid, but I do like to perform. So now I'm like, maybe professionally I need to be getting into a job where like, I'm just giving trainings, or like, I've always wanted to be like a docent at like a museum, like in my retirement. That's always what I had pictured myself doing. Like, if I didn't have to have a job that paid me money in order to like exist on this hurling rock, I would be like some sort of docent as one of the things I do during the week. But those jobs typically are volunteer. So like, I still need another form of income on top of that. Anyway, Jesus Christ. This is literally what you guys are, I'm like, I don't know why I'm like apologizing for this, because I'm like, at this point, this is old hat. You guys know that this is what you're signing up for when you click on these vlogs. It's just me circling the drain. Here's the thought that I'm getting to. We're traveling to the destination now. I wasn't anxious for the presentation, but I had a weird amount of anxiety before I went to this personal training session because I was so self-conscious of like, knowing how inathletic I am. I've never been very intuitive with like sports, athleticism. It's never come naturally to me. It's always been very labored, contrived. Like high school, I was on the basketball team, honestly, just because my friends all played basketball. So I was like, oh, this is probably something I would enjoy and should like. But I never did. And I just tried to convince myself that like it was for me because everybody's supposed to be doing a sport to like have worth in high school, which is dumb. Once I realized that I was a musician and that's my bag, everything got a lot better for me. I was just very self-conscious because typically I'm very comfortable with my lack of athleticism, but this is an environment where that's like kind of all that matters in a gym is like your ability to like push yourself and beat goals and like exert your body. And to me, exerting myself in front of somebody else is one form of vulnerability that like feels extremely embarrassing to me. Like it just feels so just like I'm on trial. Once I got there, it wasn't horrible, but I've just been in a self-conscious moment as of late. That's how my heart is. Also, her pantry, sleepover goals, sleepover goals. We'll do a pantry tour later. I'm realizing if I'm gonna be this long-winded, I either need to start a podcast or do the Twitch thing. So please let me know which medium you would appreciate more. To me, they're both easily doable. I just feel like I need some other repository to like store these thoughts, honestly, just for myself. And then if anyone wants to tune in, they totally can. So let me know, podcast stream of consciousness or Twitch stream of consciousness, because YouTube just isn't the medium. Like I cannot get everything they want to say out without the video being literally 3 hours. So.
Something in the way people have their ways. They must be on a hunt for something true. Things they never say and never do.
The blue one, the green, and the yellow. Yeah, I know. Taco time.
Is it a chocolate factory?
Something like that.
You've lit the flame. Now I float.
Hello. It is the first rainy weekend in Seattle. There's novelty to it. I'm sure the novelty will wear off very quickly, but for now I can enjoy the nights and the days where you're just hearing the rain fall down. So very comforting and cozy and wondrous. There's more rain coming down this weekend than the entire summer combined. So the city is kind of readjusting to its usual state of wetness. The bus, I tried to take a video of it. Everybody was like, it wasn't just me that was a little bit like, whoa. Everybody was a little bit like, oh my God. The bus was like the canonic fucking standing on the corner, the bus goes by and a wave of water splashes. Like, I have never in my life seen such a powerful like spray. Met up with my girly Sarah Wang today. She's been making Seattle vlogs long before I had ever, and our inaugural thing we did together last time was going to the tool library here, which is literally like, okay, update from the first vlog I posted. When I was talking about my love of Facebook Marketplace, people were like, you need to join Buy Nothing groups because those are more communal because everything's free and people are just giving it away. So I joined my Buy Nothing group, and then I also found out that they have tool libraries here in a couple different neighborhoods. So they literally just have a huge arsenal of like dehydrators, coolers, lanterns, camping supplies, saws, power washers, drills, stud finders, measuring tools, like literally everything you could want, and you can check it out for free and renew it. So we've been going there together, and then we went to the Capitol Hill Goodwill, and my good God, the absolute haul I walked out of there with. I didn't even know Goodwill made bags this big. Like, she's a mammoth. So I want to do a little bit of a Goodwill haul since I feel like most of my content tends to be a lot of just talking. Doesn't even necessarily need to be visual, a lot of my content, but got a guy in bounce ball for $10 because I don't have an office chair yet for my desk here, so I haven't been able to sit at it. I also was in my girly bag, you know, a little bit of a different switch up from my style today, but in my girly bag, just a little button up top, you can't really tell. And then what was on my list of things to get? Containers. What did they have? IKEA containers. What was on my list of things to get? Mixing bowls / salad bowls. What did they have? 2 cool ass salad bowls for $6 and $7. Got a camping lantern, which I could check out from the tool library, but it was literally $7, so I was like, might as well just buy my own. Got 2 extension cords. For $5 and $6. And then ice cream scoops, a host of knives. Goodwill has the serve when it comes to cooking stuff, let me just say that. And 2 things of hand sanitizer, and then I need to mount a bunch of stuff this weekend, hence why I went to the tool library, and so I got a bunch of wall anchors. They just bulk package stuff in the Seattle Goodwills. I have not seen this in the California Goodwills. So they just bulk package a bunch of stuff that like supposedly would go together, but you might not use all of it. So yeah, I was just like so enthusiastic about that Goodwill hunt. I feel like usually with Goodwill, it's like either you score so big or you walk out of there with exactly nothing. My sister's been staying with me this weekend, so I haven't been vlogging too much because I don't know, it's hard to talk to a camera when there's someone else listening, which is kind of why I wanted to live alone as well. But it's been nice to have somebody else share my space. So.
Want to do before you set it out.
Your love.
Every time I bike through Seattle, my main character syndrome is activated, especially when I'm listening to Maggie Rogers and it's golden hour, and all those three things are in trifecta right now. I just biked past a puddle. I literally was like, that's a beautiful puddle with their beautiful reflection. Biked like 100 more feet, and then I was like, I'm gonna turn around and really experience that puddle. Like, I am just fully in my Pisces fucking romanticization bag. I don't know, I'm just feeling profoundly restored today. Had a beautiful walk around the lake. It's a Monday and I've had a beautiful day. When does that ever happen? I'm sweaty because my endorphins kick in when I'm biking, and I like feel the need to like literally fucking vroom, which I never feel when I'm in the gym. Another reason to get out and move your body in a more natural environment. Like, beautiful pink sunset. I really feel like the Seattle freeze, which if you're not familiar, is just this phenomenon where nobody here is friendly and people flake, and like it's hard to make friends here apparently. And it's hard to like cultivate relationships, find companionship here. I really feel like that only applies to locals. Like if you're a transplant trying to make friends with locals, it's probably not gonna work out. But then again, I was thinking about it, and like almost all of my friends that live in a city that's not their hometown are friends with mainly transplants. Like, it's very rare to be a transplant and be friends with all locals. If you defy that little theory I just made up in the last week, give me a comment down below. But that's why I'm kind of like, this Seattle freeze thing is a little bit bogus, because the transplants have all been so welcoming to me. I've had so many like tangential third degree people in my life reach out without me even initiating and say, hey, I saw you moved here, let's like go for a walk, let's get coffee, let's do this, let's go thrifting. And I'm like, I was prepared to put in like a lot of work to like find relationships, and I'm miraculously like 6 weeks in, and I was biking home tonight and I was like, damn, I'm like really in the groove. I'm gonna join a book club, probably start taking dance classes with the friend that I went walking with tonight. And then she told me about her friend that moved away but used to be in the band for the Seattle Sounders, which is the soccer team here. Do I follow soccer? No. But do I love musicians? Yes. Like, musicians are my fucking people. I've always found community with musicians. If I can get my trumpet chops back up, it's been about 4 years since I've played at this point. If I can get my trumpet chops back up, and if I can get my trumpet from the Bay Area, I would love to be in that band, because she said her friend loved it and it was like 20 people. I don't know if they traveled, but I'm like, that's exactly the kind of kooky little improv, you know, it's kind of like an improv team. Like, I'm looking for that kind of environment, just like a bunch of like rambunctious, goofy people to like vibe with. A lot of things are clicking. It took about 6 weeks, but things are clicking. Look at this fucking car. Look at my bike. Look at the car. So this is all to say, if you're feeling lost and out of sorts right now, things can take flight. I'm sure in another 4 weeks, I will feel discombobulated again, maybe even sooner than that. But for now, I'm feeling like I'm gonna find my stride here, and I fucking love this city. Like, I fucking love this place. It makes me a little bit sad because I know I'll never be able to fully, truthfully show you how beautiful I find this place. Like, you'll never be able to see Seattle exactly the way I see it. I can film as much as I want, but you'll never, like, the little glimpses that happen too quick for me to get my camera out. Even with my phone, which is so easy to get out, like biking along this trail, I saw Mount Rainier over the water, peeking over the skyline. Like, what city besides like Tokyo do you have a beautiful mountain overlooking the skyline with a lake in front of it? Like, what the fuck? Nobody hypes up Seattle. Nobody hypes up Seattle. It's so underrated, but it's a fucking beautiful city. It's fucking beautiful. The rain is even fucking beautiful, okay? Like, I'm not even trying to romanticize it, but like rain objectively like is very beautiful to look out on when you're inside. When you're outside, probably not as much. But then I was biking along the trail, and everybody on the trail is biking, and you can tell they have their own little thing going on tonight, and they're all in a good mood because they're moving their bodies and the wind is blowing and everybody is just so cool. I keep saying that in every single vlog, but like people here are just fucking cool. I'm like, oh my God, you're all just cool and hot. And then the mountains, the Cascades, the Olympics peeked out over the water, over the marina, and I was just like, this is so fake. I wanted to take a moment to talk about a member of my videos that you have not seen recently. It's been a minute since I've talked about them, and I just feel as though I owed you an update. And who could that be? Skillshare. Welcoming them back into the fold. I haven't gotten to say these words in so long, but they are an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creatives. You all know how much I love a good class. Learning is one of the most fulfilling parts of my life, and they've got everything from film photography lessons to journaling workshops to web analytics, graphic design, and actually, funnily enough, in this vlog you see me take a class on embroidering photographs, and they literally have a 2-hour course on that here on Skillshare. So I could have saved myself the $80 and just come on here, because guess what? Skillshare offers a 1-month free trial to the first 1,000 folks that click on the link in my description. They've also now subtitled everything available on Skillshare in Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Dutch. So if that was limiting you before, they've unlocked that for you all. And because Skillshare's mission is all about learning, there are no ads on the classes. You're not gonna have to skip past any commercials. So if it's been a while since you've learned something new or feel a little creatively unfulfilled, October's as good of a time as ever to plug in and try it out, grab a free month trial, and see where it takes you. Thanks, Skillshare. I wasn't even trying to vlog right now, but my whole thing is like, usually when I historically have vlogged, I have set aside like a whole day to vlog. And I've like charged my camera up the night before, and then I'll vlog an entire day, get all my B-roll that same day, and then I'll vlog like maybe one more day and then put them together. But what ends up happening with that approach is that sometimes I'll wake up and I'll genuinely feel like, ooh, I wish I hadn't picked this day to vlog, because I'm just not really in the right mode to like communicate with you all, or I just don't feel like I have a lot to express and I don't want to force it. And that's why I kind of like my new little, it might be a little more discombobulated, but it feels more truthful and more honest to like, these are the moments these thoughts actually come up. And so to air them as I'm processing them feels much more effortless. And I think it comes across that way as well. But what I was gonna say is like, I never wanna feel like I'm trying to convince you all of anything on this channel. And it's a little bit of a paradox, because the compensation model of influencing, of content creation, is to have companies sponsor you in the hopes that you will convince, that you will influence others to try their service, to buy their product, to adopt their whatever propaganda they're pushing. But I find that despite, 13% of our jobs and the content we make, or maybe even less than that, 8% of the content we make being the actual sponsorship labor, I find that a lot of the rest of the content, by osmosis, sometimes it will feel as though like influencers are trying to convince you of just like their lifestyle. Like they're trying to prove, they have something to prove. And I know that I have been in that mode at times, but I no longer, and I haven't been for a while. I think that that's like been the market shift. There might not be enough protein to really chew on with this thought. I don't know if this is already making sense to you, but like you can feel it when a content creator or when someone is trying to convince you of something, like convince you that their relationship is good, or convince you that they like this thing they just bought, or convince you that they are having fun, they're happy, their mental health is good. Like, I do not ever want to be feeling like I'm convincing you all of anything. I was worried with me expressing like how good I feel and how much variety there's just been in these little vlogs lately of my moods and reflections and processing. I didn't want this to feel as though like, oh, you saw a couple down moments, so now I'm going to prove to you that like I have an up, I'm actually okay, everything's fine. Like, I am expressing this not because I want to convince you that like, or convince myself that I made the right decision to move here. I'm expressing this because like this is just genuinely how I'm feeling in the moment. And that's also why I feel like picking up my camera when I'm just thinking these things is the most helpful. The street lights just came on, so I really need to get home because I don't have a light on my bike yet. But that's all I wanted to say, is just that like I'm documenting my lifestyle for me, and I'm allowing everyone to voyeuristically participate in it. But although I love the two-way communication of content creation, and I don't know if I would do this as much if I didn't have the community and the audience that you are all a part of supporting me. But I don't want to feel like I'm always reacting to what I think you'll want to hear. Cue Fake Happy by Paramore. That's all.